Two engaging sisters from Cincinnati, Ohio, share their story on how they used grit and tenacity to eventually land on Good Morning America, The Today Show, QVC, Shop HQ, Daymond John's Shark Tank Group, and now going into Nordstrom's, their lifelong dream. You're really going to enjoy their story. I'm excited to have on the show with us today Shelby McKee and Christy Parry, the founders of Keysocks, keysocks.com, Keysocks, if you want to check it out. If you're not driving while you listen to this, if you are, check it out later. We'll have the URL in the show notes for sure to check out this product. I am really excited about this interview. As you'll find as they describe the product, this is not really a product that I would use in my personal life, but having several women in my life, my wife, 3 daughters, I get it. This is a problem that women face, particularly in terms of the types of socks they wear, no-show socks, et cetera. They've solved the problem in a very unique way that once they describe it, you're going to get it. Whether you are you wear them yourself or someone in your life does, you're going to know about this problem. So I'm going to let them describe it and talk about their history a little bit. Shelby and Christy, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you. We're so excited.
So for those that might not be seeing the video, if they're listening, you got the image or you got the actual product behind you on display. But describe for us, what are Keysocks and why did you develop them?
Okay, so back in 2009, I was invited to a Bengals game. It was end of September, getting a little chilly out. And, being a mom, I always opt for just comfortable shoes because it's going to be chilly and I want to, I want to look cute, but I really couldn't that day because I'm like, I'm going to be freezing. What should I do? So I had a really cute pair of flats on. I wanted to wear jeans. And so I never even owned socks. Funny part is I'm like, no, don't like socks. They don't work. The no-show, the footies always fall off your feet. You get blisters, you're freezing, you're miserable. So I was getting ready to go to the game that day. And I pulled out of the sock drawer a knee-high sock. It was actually a tube sock first, a white one. I was like, this is ridiculous, but I'm comfortable. So then I pulled a navy one out, pulled it all the way up, put it on. I'm like, this looks ridiculous. So I was like, why don't I just pull out scissors, cut a hole where I can't see the sock, and literally went to the game. My last name is McKee. And my friend that invited me to the game that day was like, oh my gosh, Shelby. She's like, that's not a MacGyver sock. It's called a McKeever sock, Keysocks. Every key has a hole. There's a key. And that's the day it was born.
Nice. I was going to ask you about how the name, that makes a lot of sense. That's great. It is, as I mentioned, I got really excited to set up this interview just in visiting your website, frankly, and learning more about your product, because it is such a problem that everybody faces. Women everywhere, at least, wear these no-show socks, and they do, as you term it, they eat your sock. Your shoes eat your socks, right? They get bunched up down there. So it's just it's an ingenious idea. So talk to us, I guess, first of how did you, obviously you explained the simple design the very first time you did it. How'd you go to the next step of designing these socks so they would be functionally successful, so they would work well on women's feet?
So great question. So first off, for the first 3 months, everybody was like, that is amazing. That is such a great idea. So I did all my research, Googled it, researched it, went to the attorney's office. Our dad was just retiring. He was in non-food products to grocery stores. He was in sales his entire life. He was an entrepreneur. And so he was retiring. So I went to my sisters, my mom, my other sister, and showed them the idea. They said, this is amazing. So I ended up going to the neighbor and she would sew the socks for us. So we got samples made. And then fast forward, long story short, my dad had a really good friend that had been in the textile business for years. And he was moving to Shanghai, China. And it took us about literally 2.5 years just to get the right opening for the sock. It was because nobody's ever made it and they're all hand cut. So it's just was, so many different sizes, so many different openings, so many different feet. So fast forward, that took us about 2.5 years. And we started off with one SKU, one fabric, and now we're up to like 6 different fabrics, about 32 different SKUs.
Started with one size. Now we offer standard and plus. So, fits every different women's leg size, and it's great.
So for those that it didn't see as they held up the example, there's a hole in the front. So when you wear these, it looks like no-show socks. There's this fabric behind, covering basically your Achilles on the back of your foot. So if go to the website and check it out if you haven't seen this already, and you can see that when you wear pants, it looks like you have no-show socks on, but I imagine the comfort level obviously is very different in the fact that they don't slip down, right? They stay where they're supposed to on your feet.
Yeah, yeah. And the fabrics, we've mastered the fabrics. They're unbelievable. And it doesn't, and people say, well, I don't wear a knee high. I said, well, I wouldn't either. But with these, with the fabric and everything that we have going on with them, you pull them all the way up the leg, and then you pull it up, you loop it around, and literally nobody knows you have a sock on. It doesn't even feel like you have a sock on. Oh, and we do have really cute sayings on the bottom. Yeah.
Stand tall, that one says on the bottom, right?
Yep, stand tall. Yep. This actually came from a teacher that loves them. And so she ended up, I texted her one day, she ended up buying and as a matter of fact, she's from Denver. And she said, I walk to work every day in my flats, and I'll tuck the sock up like this, and then I'll put my flip-flops on. She's like, it's a convertible sock. She goes, I put it back on. I get into the classroom, I put my flats on, and I'm warm. And I'm not, cold, freezing, and, feeling good. But so she messaged, and I said, we would love to have you put a saying on the bottom. And she said, well, I tell my students every day to stand tall. So.
Nice. Love it. Love it. So, okay, you got a great product. We've established that, right? You're solving a need,
yeah.
But still there's lots of products out there that get to that stage and then falter, right? They never kind of make it past that point to be a successful product marketing business. So talk to us. How did you first turn that corner of getting not just a great product, but turning into a successful business?
I mean, I would say from the beginning, we, launched our website, and we were found by, was it the Today Show? And we were Bobby Thomas's 3 girlfriend gifts. And we were featured on the Today Show. And then we were featured on Real Simple. And what were some other ones that came up? And then we've been on Good Morning America several times, and Deals and Steals, which has just been amazing.
But the struggle's been real. I mean, it's taken a long time. I mean, we launched in 2000. I cut the hole in 2009. We launched in 2012. And, you've got to hustle. You got to reach out and keep reaching. I mean, we have knocked on doors for 80,000 different ways to get a yes. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I feel like I'm kind of the spokesperson. I invented it. And then Christy, my sister, it's like, I go fishing, I reel it in, and then I hand it to her, and she puts it on the plate, platters it, makes it look good. I mean, she does all the behind the scenes stuff, all the computer stuff. Just really getting your brand out there. I have a good friend that I met actually at QVC. I went to QVC training, and she said, Shelby, she's like, every time you think you make it, it's just a flash in the pan. She's like, it's like, oh my gosh, we made it. This is it. It's like, no, it's like every day you have to do consistency, get your name out there. And right when you think that somebody's going to take you to the finish line, or, you have someone famous behind your brand, it ultimately is our job to get us there. And that, I think, is a huge thing, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a common thread, I think, in most of my discussions with our clients and interviews we do on this show is it is the struggle. So often it's fun to jump past the challenges and get to the successes, right? Because we all want to hear that. We want to hear how you made it, right? But along the way, everybody shares challenges. They're different, right? We don't share the same challenges, but it's difficult along the way. It's a hard journey, but it sure is fun when you quote unquote get there. As you said, you never really get there, right? You're constantly working to grow the business and make it even better. But it becomes more tangible as sales grow. You get more outlets taking on, seeing people out in everyday life wearing your product, right? It just those tangible successes make it a lot of fun. So where are you seeing successes now? E-commerce versus retail versus Amazon. Where are your sales coming from?
So we had partnered with Daymond John's Shark Group, and we, right before COVID hit, we went to a show in Las Vegas. And we were going to launch into big, large retail, grocery, all those kind of stores. And we were going to do as seen on Shark Tank. And then we got back from the show. We had the best feedback from all the buyers. And then everything went code silent. So that happened. And we bought, a ton of inventory, which we still have. And we've kind of decided to take a different direction. And we've got some exciting things in the works. We finally got a yes from Nordstrom. So we're going to be launching on Nordstrom.com, I would say in the next couple weeks. And but until that, we've really just e-commerce, Amazon.com, Keysocks.com, and we're on just a couple other little like specialty online sites. But and then we're also going to be launching on Shop HQ, which is just a lower tier of QVC.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
that's exciting. We get a lot of questions. We've had a few of our clients go on Shark Tank and everyone's results. It's funny how different the stories are, whether they get deals or not. How did that work where you worked with Daymond John, you made that step towards retail, and then the world, of course, kind of blew up with COVID. Do they stay in? So even though their original plan is now changed, I guess, do they stay involved? His group, Daymond John, or your experience from Shark Tank?
Well, we weren't on Shark Tank. So I was actually on Good Morning America. They called me 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. They had a little spin-off of Shark Tank. So I had 5 seconds to sell my idea live on Times Square. And so Daymond John was the judge. And so I won that. And that was just a publicity thing. So we had I just had chased him down. And I said, I wasn't on Shark Tank. We would love to work with you. And so we worked with one of the people that worked with the Shark Group, and he was amazing. And then COVID hit. So it was like, okay, let's regroup. Let's see what we're going to do. And I always, since 2012, always knew that Nordstrom would be the perfect way to start. And so it's like we went through all these different channels thinking we were going to get in all these different ways, because the ultimate goal and the ultimate intention is to get them in everyone's software. So it's like, how are we going to get there? Which avenue are we going to take? And right when you think that you're going to go in a certain way, something else happens. So to get that yes from Nordstrom was just so exciting. And then, as you see, John, the sock has to be told, and it's such a TV product. And, you were talking about that earlier. When we were on QVC, we did amazing. And so to get on Shop HQ is really exciting. And so now those two things for this fall is just, we couldn't be more excited. So
that's great. I would say that shows real tenacity too, of being able to work with anybody from Shark Tank. They make it very difficult where if you're not on the show, that's why I just assumed you'd been on, getting that step, quote unquote, as he's on Shark Tank, or being able to work with any of the sharks, frankly, they make it very difficult. So that shows real tenacity on your part to push past that and get to the stage of getting their help, even though COVID obviously changes plans a little bit for everybody. But being able to adjust to that is, again, continued tenacity. So congrats on that Nordstrom deal for one. That's exciting. Not easy to do. And it's, oftentimes the first massive step of a, even bigger success after that point. I've got to ask, so a lot of inventors and product marketers we work with and talk to, they try to make their lives easier by inventing or creating a product that has a single SKU, right? It's just easier to control. I don't have to worry about sizes, colors, etc. In the sock world, you can't, right? Like, so I'm sure you'd love to have just a black sock and that's it, but that's not what people buy, right? So you were forced into, once you have this great idea, now you have to have, how many, was it 32 SKUs? Is that right?
I'm about 18.
Or 18, sorry. I didn't write that down. If I don't write it down, I get it wrong every time. So 18 SKUs, still a lot of SKUs to keep track of. How has that changed, I guess, the complexity of launching and growing your business? Just the fact that you've had so many SKUs.
I would say just trying to figure out what groupings, to sell, because, online people want to buy socks in 3-packs. They don't want to buy, single pairs. They do, but, with our new launch on Nordstrom.com, we're going to be selling in 3-packs. So it's kind of like, are we going to do a variety? Or so it's just interesting because we offer, an original, which is like our thicker, fabric. We offer a classic light that's a little thinner, a barely there that's like a nylon. And then we have a weekend cut. We have a low key. So just kind of figuring out, what the consumer wants and how to kind of package those together. It's kind of been hard.
Yeah.
And since the sizing is so different because of having the knee-high part, for standard size and plus size, I mean, that's why we had to add those in to, make sure that we got it for a variety of everybody. And but having the 3-packs, I think, is key. Yeah. But let me tell you, for somebody that didn't even wear socks, that didn't even know anything about them, and then just to like go into this
Well, it's funny, our dad, keep it simple,
Yeah.
Why do you need more than a
you don't
black,
need all
brown,
those
and a
colors.
tan? We're like, no, we want stripes, we want pink, we want turquoise, we want
He's
this.
like, you keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
And
that's what we've done.
And I truly think, though, the biggest lesson for us is just to trust ourselves, because we've had so many people come in that say they can sell the world. We've had a lot of money spent, and just you learn so many lessons. And if I could look back and say, what did you learn the most? I would say, trust yourself and trust your gut and what you believe and where you want to go. But it's like anything in life. It's like you have to learn the hardcore lessons before you need to get where you need to go. And like Daymond John says, an overnight success is 10 years, and it's going to be close to that for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's one of the reasons we do this show is to help some people get over hurdles a little bit by learning from others. So is there a hurdle that comes to mind for you guys, or a big challenge you guys face that you've learned from, that, had you done it differently, it would have gone easier, or something you would have changed in the past that might be helpful for some of our listeners?
I think, kind of what Shelby just said, trusting, thinking that you're going to trust these people that come in, and really realizing that you just never know. And so I think just
like you say, doing your research, asking questions, from where we are today, from 10 years ago when we started, we just instantly would trust somebody and say, oh, wow, you can do this for us. You can do that. And just doing your research, doing your homework, making sure that, you really question, because Christy and I are such trusting people, and we feel that most people are going to be like we are, because we just have big hearts and we just want to have women comfortable and feel good about themselves, and, sell a sock has a hole in it that's a no-show knee-high sock that nobody even knows about. You know what I mean? And that's our intention. But just always trust your gut. And when you feel a feeling that doesn't seem right, it's not right. It's not right. And it's funny because it started to happen to us again a little bit when we both looked at each other. We're like, no, we're not going to go with that. Like, we've already been down that path. We just need to keep it simple, like, you were saying, and just trust yourself, really.
And I've found that in running my business, your gut gets better too over time, of course, right? So in the beginning, I like how you talked about trust your gut, trust yourself, ask questions of others, right? So in the beginning stage, you may need to ask a lot more questions before your gut is trained, right? So really probe and find that out. But after 10 years of doing this, as you kind of shared just now, you've got some experience of whatever it might be that you've gone through in the past. Like, okay, that happened last time. We've learned from it. Let's not do it again. So your gut really gets trained and improves over time, for sure.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Are there any interesting stories? It's got to be interesting running a business as sisters. Is there an interesting story you've taken back to your family of running the business that was, just to kind of take back to home and share some of the challenges you're going through?
I have a good one. Okay. So our parents live in Florida, and my dad's been retired. He's 81. Our mom's 76. And Christy and I are running this together. We're single moms. She has 3 girls. I have a boy and a girl, and they're all teenagers. And we're running this business out of my house. This is my house right here. And it's just been crazy. And so I had tried to get on Deals and Steals with Good Morning America. I love Tori Johnson. I love everything about her. Her daughter's an entrepreneur. She is unbelievable. She's on there with Robin Roberts, and I just think they are just amazing. And their Deals and Steals is unbelievable. So I had been emailing her assistant for what was it, 6 years?
Yeah.
6 years. Every 3 months, I'd say, hey, it's the annoying lady, Shelby, with the sock with the hole in it. Okay. When are you going to put me on? I'm like, I need to meet you. So kept emailing. I mean, I'm telling you, it was from 2012 to 2017. Okay. Finally, we're sitting at the office, and finally, all of a sudden, I get an email back, and we had come out with a compression no-show knee high. Okay. So nobody has ever come up with that. The only thing on the market is a knee high compression or a sleeve. Okay. So nobody's ever thought of this. Ever. Isn't that crazy? In the compression world, it's insane. And here we are, just sisters doing this, right? And so we finally get a yes. She emails me back and she said, oh, compression. Because I said, I had just emailed her a week before. And then Good Morning America came on and it said, these are the greatest compression socks. So I emailed her again and I said, oh my gosh, I hate to bug you again, but we have a compression. She emails back. She says, can you get on April? I think it was April 17th. Can you get on? This was like January or something. I called Mike at our factory in China and I said, I'll run there in the compression socks. Those socks need to be ready because we're going to be on TV. It gives me chills to even think about it. And so she said yes. She gets us on. So we get on and I can't even tell you the sales. I mean, it was like insane. I mean, and we're packing socks out of my house. I mean, it is like crazy. And so they invited us on. I think we've been on like 5 times. So then after 5 times of being on, in 2019, the summer, she calls, and I don't want to say her name, but I want to, but she calls and she says, can you and Christy be up here live? We want to get you live on television. We're picking 3 entrepreneurs. Can you fly up here tomorrow? And literally, we were at the swimming pool with the kids, and I used to be a springboard diver. And I have this reoccurring fear of diving off the high dive. And I literally haven't done it in 20 years. Christy goes, she just called. We're flying up to New York. We're going to be on live TV. I went straight up to the high dive and dove off of it. And I was like,
that's a
like
great visual.
It was like, we're doing this.
Well,
So-
it was such a surprise because
Yeah.
we had been planning for 2 months, and I work with the back end to do the microsite. So I'm on the phone. I get a phone call from New York, and I'm like, she's like, can you be up here in 2 days? So I call Shelby. I see Shelby. I'm like, they want us up in New York.
So we get on live television. We didn't tell our parents. We're going to surprise them. So we're on live TV, and my mom's like, well, wait, where did she get those shoes and that outfit? Like, Jim, what is going on? So we had to call him. She's like, we're so confused. We're like, Mom, we're surprising you. We're on live TV. So
Because usually it's just the product.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. That's
Yeah.
very
They
true.
had team brands, and they decided to pick 3 of the entrepreneurs to come up and be live.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Wow, that's awesome. What a great story. And I love the visual of the high dive as well. Please tell me you have that on video.
I don't.
I might have
Oh,
some.
do you
Next
I
time.
might have
Next
some
time.
videos.
next time I'll have to do a 1.5 because that one.
There you go. That is saying something. So we have a client that was just on last week, actually, on Deals and Steals. They're a 10-year-old business as well. They're about $20 million in revenue, been around for a long time, lots of retail, lots of e-commerce, very successful. And they just got on, right? It speaks something to, again, tenacity of being just pushing towards this, right? It's that overnight success that you worked with. You said 5 years of sending emails and constantly following up. Very, very infrequently do we get a yes from whether it's a retailer or whether it's a big PR opportunity. So common it is that it takes work. And then once that happens, right, that corner is turned. Now we can grow the business. And now it seems easy, right? It's to the outsider, right? That they see the success. They don't realize what you went through. Yep.
It's not. It's just a nice little publicity,
Yeah. But it just
ran out there, but it's the
it
day
takes
in
work
and
to
the
get
day
there.
out. It just doesn't stop. Yeah.
Well, I love the product. I love the stories you guys are sharing. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you think could be helpful for our audience?
I think that really reaching out to other entrepreneurs and getting that support. I think you mentioned that in the beginning where it's so fun to hear other people's stories. And that's part of the reason why you love doing this. And that to me has been one of the best parts, is getting to know our customers and also other entrepreneurs in the same boat. And I'm a huge fan of Cindy Eckert, who invented the pink Viagra. Have you seen her?
I have, yeah.
She's unbelievable. And I just listened to a podcast with her, and she said, and don't quote me on this, but something like this. She said, when you're feeling down or you're feeling like, you're feeling discouraged because, she was told no, she went against the FDA. I mean, she is unbelievable, sold for $1 billion. And she's so down to earth and so amazing. But she said, you need to always go back to what your original intention was for your business. And so when I feel overwhelmed or feel worried, I just shut my eyes and I go, okay, why did I do this? Why did I create this? Why am I, wanting to do this for women for comfort? It's so much more than a sock, and like, what can you put around it in your life to make it special and to make other people feel good and to give back? And that's something that Christy and I always do. And we're always donating socks. Like Saturday, we're donating for St. Jude's. We're donating to the Nurses Week, our compression socks. I think people say, Shelby, you give too many away. I said, you know what? At the end of the day, it makes you comfortable. I want to get them on every woman's, feet. My mission is to get them in every woman's sock drawer. So I just think that's the key right there. It's just it's more than your business. It's more than a sock. It's about making people feel good. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's great advice. And I love how you talked about communicating with other entrepreneurs, other product marketers. Everyone's going to have a different situation, but you can learn from mistakes, challenges. I mean, as you mentioned, this is a reason that I do this podcast, is it gives a chance for product marketers to hear from others and learn and hopefully make one change every time they listen to an episode in their business. It's going to help them, right? It's meant to be inspirational and motivational. Beyond that, though, it's getting that one-on-one communication. Reach out via LinkedIn or find a mentor, find somebody else in a similar situation. Even if they're a few steps ahead of you, even better, right? Learn from others because they've been down a very similar road. We're big believers that in our company, I'm part of a mastermind group of just marketing agency owners. They all have, there's, I think, 60 of us or so that we communicate on Slack, and man, I get so much help from them, even though their agencies are all different. They don't do product marketing and product launches like we do. Everyone's different, but they're in some certain similar situations and circumstances. And I can just learn a ton from them. So I encourage our audience to certainly do the same, to reach out to others, whether it's people that you hear on our show, find them on LinkedIn, hear their story, or whether it's, find other inspiring stories out there that you can follow and learn from, inspiring people. And the nice thing is there's so many great people in our community. Every time I have the chance to talk to a product marketer, even if we're not connected in any way, they're open, right? Because we know we're in this together. We're in this small world of trying to make it successful, and we want to help others for sure along the way. Well, again, I want to thank you guys for taking the time. I know how busy you are running a business, and so taking an hour out of your day to prep for and to do this interview, Shelby and Christy, is a big ask. So I really appreciate you guys taking this time. I do want to encourage our audience, go to their website. So it's Keysocks.com. The link is connected in our show notes as well. And they've been kind enough to share a promo code for a 25% discount. So check out the website just to see the product. If you like it, though, and want to purchase it, use Harvest Growth, one word, for a 25% discount on their page as well. And be sure to check out harvestgrowthpodcast.com to see other episodes we've recorded. And if you like this episode, you want to learn more about how Harvest Growth can help your business, check out harvestgrowth.com. You can book an appointment with one of our product marketing specialists right from our homepage. If you'd like to hear more shows like this great one, please be sure to just subscribe to our show and leave us a review at iTunes or Google Play. Again, Shelby and Christy, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.